So I'm working in my sketchbook today, and I'm working with color pencils. These are, let me show you I have these linked on my website, but they are watercolor pencils. You can use any type of color pencil you have around. My really good set of color pencils that I like are regular color pencils are actually at my dear Susan's house. So I don't have access to those today, so I'm just using what I have, which are my watercolor pencils, which is fine. When I'm working in my sketchbooks, I use clamps. These are the X-Acto clamps. You can use safety pin, or not safety pins. What is the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh. Yeah, clothespins. So you can use clothespins, or anything that you have that you can, even if you just need to use a piece of tape or something to kind of hold that open. Also, like these, if you have them around, they work. But I have noticed that this part leaves an indentation on your work, so you might want to put something like a really thick layer of paper towels or something in there, along with, like, to clamp in with your work, to prevent that from happening. But these I like because they're nice and flat, and they don't really leave a lot of indentation on my work. So I've already started this. I have a video that I made the other day that I haven't done anything with, that shows how I blended this and what I did here. So usually I keep a piece of like cardboard from like the end of a notebook, or if you get some little flimsy cardboard in the mail and with something, you could see I've used this one for this. So what I do, I put that under where I'm working. That way, when I'm blending and I'm working, it doesn't go through and mark the next page. So this is kind of my buffer of keeping that page from, you see how it's gone through? This protects that from happening onto the other page. So just a cheap piece of cardboard, free cardboard that you find somewhere, does that trick for you. You don't have to buy anything or do anything fancy. And so you see I've kind of done it like this, and then I'm going to get another clamp, and let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. Oh, sorry. So I get another clamp, and I will just clamp that down. And of course I'm gonna, when I put my camera down and I'm able to use both hands, I'll smooth all that out and have it nice and flat and a workable surface. But like, you see how this has kind of gone through over here? It didn't go through on this page because I used a piece of cardboard between the pages so that it didn't do that. And that way it allows me a new fresh work surface when I turn my page. And also it provides good backer paper, so that when I'm going off of the edge, I'm not going off into my table or some other surface. So just whenever I go off of the edge, I just go off the edge onto my backer cardboard in this case, but backer paper, backer cardboard, whatever you use behind what you're doing, you get your work onto that and not onto your table or another piece of paper that you didn't want to get marker or whatever you're using, in this case colored pencil, on. So that's where we're at in this process. Today I'm going to talk about blending with the color pencils. These actually are very good at blending, the watercolor color pencils. You don't have to get the professional set to do this. So let me see what we can do, how we can I should have thought about this before I actually started recording, but we're learning together, right? All right, so let me smooth out my paper here. Make sure that's not, there we go. All right, and then I'm gonna set you guys here. Just, yeah. It's such an aesthetic, I tell you. It's so beautiful. Okay, and so what you can do, first and foremost, you can get your sketch pencils out and go for a hard pencil. So we're gonna look for, I want something, let's see, what are you? Oh, there's I have a good 6H here. So it's a good, nice hard lead, good for just drawing out, but I'm not holding my pencil down here because I don't want thick, hard lines. I'm way out here on my pencil. I'm almost at the very end of my pencil. And I'm just kind of get an idea of where I want things. So barely even on the paper. Like I can barely see it. And I'm just getting a general rough idea. Now I could do this with a lighter color pencil, but because I already started over here with some graphite, I want it to kind of match. So I'm adding the graphite just to make it match. So I'm gonna just draw kind of an idea of what I want. Petal going here, so come down, and then maybe another petal goes up right here. You see, I mean, it's barely on the paper, so if I were to come through with my eraser, it would just go away with no problem. So I also have out my charcoal cup. Mainly I have out my charcoal cup because I don't know if I want to use it or not today. I haven't decided. But I definitely do want my tacky eraser. This is the one I made. And then I have one that I didn't make, which is here, which is a lot more malleable. And probably the one I'll be using because it's more malleable than the one I made, and I just haven't been working with the one I made a lot or enough to make it more malleable or more squishy. Malleable, fancy word for squishy. So I'm still just kind of sketching in lightly with my pencil what I want. So I have my general idea. Okay, so my flower is going to be here, so I'm just going to leave that alone for right now, and then I'm going to start coming in with my color pencils, and I think I'm going to go for a red rose here. So I'll start with my darker color pencils, and I already have it's already nice and sorted. So what I'll start with is like these darker, and then I'll go into the lighter. And then as I go into my stems, I'm going to use my greens and yellows. So that's what you're going to be seeing in the video where I'm coloring and stuff. So these are the selections that I'll be using and working with today. So I'll talk more if I need to. So enjoy the video. Okay, so what I did, I had my 3 red pigments, shades of sort of red. I think that's kind of more of a pink, but anyway. So I started with my darker and came in on my edges where I wanted things to be dark and obvious. And then I kind of went to the middle one and blended down, and then to the lightest one and blended the whole thing. And then I could come back with my darker pigment and just add in a little bit of shadowing details where I think things should be a little darker. But I'm not holding my pencil very tightly. I'm not pushing down on it really hard. The more you go over, the more pigment you'll add and the darker it will get. So I don't have to push down hard. I don't have to put in a lot of pressure in order to get what I'm trying to accomplish here. It's just more of a matter of me just going over it over and over again to get that pigment on there. So as I go, just adding in doing little small circles helps blend, just like we do with our sketch pencils or the Sharpies that we've used before. Those small circles just kind of help blend things in a little bit and kind of get the pigment concentrated in one area so that you can make it darker. Just like so. And again, not putting pressure on my pencil, just going over it very lightly and letting that pigment get on there and do the work. If I wanted to draw these lines, I could go a little heavier on these lines and press down a little bit more. But you see, I'm not up here. I'm not doing up here. I'm still way back here and just kind of gently pressing. And just pulling at that pigment and moving it around to where I want it by just gently going through. And using the longest part of that lead, the pencil lead. Just getting darker where I want it to be darker and making that petal pop out at you. And then up here, and not hard, just very soft and very patient with it. There we go. So I'll do the same kind of thing with my greens down here. I'll kind of add in kind of the darker areas where I kind of want there to be shadow, but then I'll come in with my lighter and blend it all and pull it all together. So it doesn't, just kind of like what I did here with this one. You can see where I added the dark stuff, the darker greens, but then I came back in with my lighter greens and my yellows, and I got a little bit out of the line here. And that's fine. I mean, I could add another leaf there, or I could just leave it, or I can come in with my eraser and just clean that up. That's, yeah. Color pencil is harder to get off, but it can be done with a little bit of work. And the right erasers. So if you have a good polymer or elastomer erasers, those are really good. When you buy erasers, kind of look to see what they're made of. The traditional like pink block razors don't really do this as well. This is a tacky eraser that came in a set, so it's doing a pretty decent job of getting that taken care of. I mean, you know, and if I wanted to, I could just come in and just tear off the top layer of the page, like, and make it. Let's see. Get a sculpting tool here. I could come in with my sculpting tool and just scratch. You could do this with a butter knife, or even an unbent paper clip. You could do that with that, and just scratch at this edge and just remove that top layer of the paper. Just like that. And once you remove that top layer of the paper, it just blends right on in. And these are also good, like if you want to use crayons, color in with your crayons just the way you would do with a color pencil, and then come back in with like a butter knife or a sculpting tool or something like that, and just scrape off the waxy parts. And it just blends just so well. I'll have to show you on that. I've been using this tool for something else it wasn't intended for, so now it's all scratched up and bent out of shape, but that's okay. It still does its job. We just use the tools that we have at hand when we need them. So it's okay that we use the tools that we have at hand. And you see I'm just scratching off that top layer. I'm being very gentle. I'm not pushing down real hard. I'm just scratching at it. Again, this is a good replacement for skin picking. If you're anxious about something and you're picking at your skin, this is a good replacement for that. So I'm just coming in and scratching. So and then I can come in with my smoother edge and kind of run off some of those bits and smooth out those lines that I've etched into the paper. And again, because we have some cardboard under here, it won't bother the paper that's underneath. It'll just, the cardboard will absorb all that impact for us. And just keep doing that until you are just kind of where you've got it where you want it, and then you can stop. But you can also do that with this. It's not it's not messed up. You can just kind of come in and scratch away at some of the layers and scratch away at some of the parts and give it more interest and blend it some more by scratching away at it and then using that tool to smooth. So that's what you'll see in the video. It's just me using these tools and these colors. I'll try to show you the colors as I use them. If I forget, then I'm basically going through the greens that came in the set, going from the darker to the lighter. So just kind of, I hope you enjoy the next segment of the video here. I'm terrible at this. So what I did, because I forgot to video most of it, because yeah, I'm good like that. Here's the color palettes that I used. I have a mint green and absinthe green and a forest green, and then I came through with my sunflower yellow and kind of lightened up some areas as well. So that was the color palette used for the stem for this rose. The yellow just right here in this little area where I feel like maybe some light I feel like maybe some light has kind of, you know, is kind of touching it. Because I'm imagining my light source to be over here, so things over here are going to be a lot lighter than things on this side. So just wherever you imagine your light source to be, that's where all of your light colors are going to live. You will have some dark. You see like there's this little bit of forest green right here. You'll have some dark in there, but it's not going to be as much as like say up here where there's like, oh, I don't need to do that. There's a lot of forest green up here because this is in shadow. So it's going to be kind of big deal of forest green over here, and then there will be a little here as well, and then just kind of this little line here, this forest green, and then a little bit here, and then you can make the stem a little wider. Just, it'll be a lot more on this side because it's darker. So and right now I'm just using an up and down motion because I'm making that stem and I'm making it long. But then I come through with my this is the absinthe green, the medium or the lighter of the greens that I'm using. And I can just blend that right in. And again, I'm just going to go a little bit on the outside of that forest green. And pull that into my work. Here we go. And I am applying a little bit of pressure here just to kind of blend it along. But here's something that I could do. If you have blending stumps, and I usually keep some with like specific colors on it, so I have some with blue, some with red. So this is my one that I use for green, and I could just come in and blend with my blending stump instead of blending with my colors. Like after I've gotten all of the pigment on that I want, and I can go pretty hard on the blending stump. I'm just, you know, like, you see, because I'm going really hard, I'm using it like we're taught to traditionally use pencils. So I'm able to put a lot of pressure, and I'm blending into the stem, so I'm not blending outside of it, and I'm putting that pressure down and just blending in those colors and using that circular motion to just kind of get things mixed in there, just like that. And then just as we're just as we would do with our graphite or any other thing that we would use our blending stumps with. We're just using that pressure and just working all of that pigment into our page and mixing it together with that blending stump. And it'll give it that ghosty look that I like. I like that it looks like it's from another world or not supposed to be here, or ethereal. So I could come in with my blending stump, and this is my red, and I could blend up here as well. Just real hard on that. Just go ham. And just blend that right down. And you can see the difference on this side than this side. And because there's already a little red pigment on that from some previous work, it might blend in some extra red from whatever previous work, and I'm okay with that. But if you wanted to clean your blending stump off with some sandpaper before you did this, that would be fine too. And just come in real hard. So thank you all very much for watching today, and for just being all around supportive and excellent humans. Thank you so much. Please check us out on Facebook at Lady Skhi Creations Facebook page. Also, please check us out on Instagram, Lady Skhi Creations. Thriving little art community we have going on. Please come share your art, be a part of the community. We would love to see your stuff. There's a couple of us over there who's already shared things, so please join us. Also, you can check out the website, www.ladyskicreations.com, for a lot more art and just a lot more fun. Again, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a wonderful day. Much love.